Good evening, and welcome. Welcome to this Monday edition of the Angela Ray Show. I hope that you all had a great weekend. For many of you, it was a 3-day weekend, of course. The 4th of July was on Saturday, and I'm be curious to know what that meant to a lot of people. Right now in our country, there is a lot of racial unrest, and in addition to that, we're in the midst of a pandemic. So many of the larger celebrations that are normally observed around the country were canceled or adjusted. So let me know whenever you get on the broadcast. If you are watching this live, make sure you go ahead and chime in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from. And I'd be curious to know, what did you do on the 4th of July? I know a lot of you probably had to work, especially those of you who are considered essential during this time. For everyone who will be catching the broadcast on the replay, thank you so much for checking it out. Whenever you get on the broadcast, go ahead and be sure to share this broadcast. This week kicks off another brand new series. Yes, we are kicking off a brand new series here at the Angela Ray Show, and it is Boss Moves. Yes, Boss Moves. All of this week, I will be interviewing successful entrepreneurs who had their businesses established before the pandemic began. And many of these entrepreneurs are running their businesses without brick and mortar establishments, but they are still very successful. We'll get some business tips, we'll hear their stories, and of course, there's always an opportunity to support as well. Last week, we finished up our 5-part series on wellness. So if you did not have an opportunity to check that out, if you are checking out this broadcast, you're checking out the Angela Ray Show for the very first time, I invite you to scroll back on Facebook or go back on YouTube and really look at what our experts had to say. It was a very well-rounded discussion. I was able to interview both a psychologist, a faith-based faith community leader, as well as a nutrition leader, a meditation expert, and all of those things together can help us really improve our wellness as we continue the weeks and months of uncertainty that are to come. I'm going to give everyone a moment or two to get on this broadcast. Yes, Edwin, cleaning and organizing. That's what these long weekends often mean when we are otherwise confined to the house. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our Ray of Motivation moment for this evening. And if you didn't know, I have a book called Rays of Motivation that really inspired my Ray of Motivation moment. Now, most of the Ray of Motivation moments don't come from the book. There are 99 inspirational tips in the book. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. However, tonight I decided to switch things up. And the Ray of Motivation moment tonight comes from this book entitled Megastar Student Leadership. It's a book that I wrote that is based on my acting career, where I've adapted lessons that I learned in the field of entertainment for student leaders. And so, of the tips that I have in the book, tip number 36 is never assume negative intent. Never assume negative intent. And I was reminded of that tip a little earlier today when I had made the assumption, and we all know what happens when you assume, that one of my friends was reacting to something that I had done when in actuality, it had nothing to do with me. Now, the specific lesson that I learned that I share in the book in terms of never assuming negative intent, I was in a play. This was well over 15 years ago. And every night when we got ready to go on stage for the second act, there was a party scene. And we were all the actors in the show, we were eating. And every single night we noticed that the sandwiches that we were eating that were supposed to be prepared every night were stale. And it was such a long scene that, that play eating wasn't going to work. We really needed to be eating and involved. And we had a cast meeting where one of our actors very strongly confronted the props department on not making fresh sandwiches every single night. And the look of terror and embarrassment on this young lady's face when she was like, I make the sandwiches fresh every single night when I get to the theater. So the director thought about it. Well, she gets to the theater at 5 o'clock. It's an 8 o'clock show. And the second act is not starting until 9 o'clock. Very well, could be stale by the time we got them. So we were able to adjust the times that she prepared the food. But one of my fellow actors had assumed that there was some negative intent involved. So as you go about this week, I would just remind you to never assume negative intent. And that is your ray of motivation moment for this Monday edition of the Angela Ray Show. Well, the first boss that I have coming up tonight on the Angela Ray Show is Miss Rita Pardo. Rita is the founder and owner of Pardo Naturals. Her company was founded out of a necessity. She had a daughter with extreme eczema, and she was looking for products and found herself with several tubes of products that did not work. And after doing her own research and looking into ingredients and things that her daughter really may have been having some allergic reactions to, she created a cream that actually worked and cleared up her daughter's eczema. But today, the company offers more than just that body cream. She offers all natural products for the body, hair, and home. So please help me welcome Rita Pardo. Rita, thank you so much for being on the Angela Ray Show tonight.
Angela, thank you, girl. I feel so amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'm loving the turquoise, and I'm
Oh,
loving the coordination of
okay,
the
okay,
earrings and the
okay,
glasses and the necklace, all
okay.
of that. Looking cute,
Thank you,
looking
girl.
real
Thank
cute.
you, girl. Thank you. Told you I was gonna put on some lip gloss tonight.
Lip gloss, yes. So here's a question for you now. Eventually, once you started your company, you quit your job and you were able to do this full time. But what was your feel before you went in the lab and started mixing some chemicals and all natural ingredients and stuff?
Girl, I was a special needs school bus driver. I just knew I was gonna be 60 years old driving special needs kids because my oldest daughter's special needs, so I had a love for children with special needs. So that's what I did.
And so when you discovered that this product worked, it was working for your daughter and you were giving samples of it to family and friends, what actually kind of gave you that to go ahead and start selling the product?
Well, I had a friend who came to my house. She would used to come do my kids' hair, and I let her use it. It was a little jar of body butter, and I called it my Show Enough Good Stuff. That's what I called it. Um,
Show enough
so
good
it,
stuff.
girl, yeah, I'm from the country, so that name wasn't really marketable. But now I look back on it, I'm like, you know what, you might should have put that on the market.
I'm saying though, I mean, because there's I was about to say somebody's business, but yeah, there's some business out there that I was like, oh, you name it that, but it was catchy. It worked.
Right. So she was using it and she fell in love with it. She said, "You really need to sell this." And I was like, nah, ain't nobody gonna buy this stuff. I did not have the entrepreneur mindset to really start a business. I did little things on the side like bake cakes and sell them like that. But something big with a website, I wasn't even about to do that, honey, because I didn't know what to do. But eventually, I had so many people asking that I had to find out how to open up a website. And that first website, honey, when my business was Naturally Me and You, it was straight atrocious, girl. It was purple and green. Get the pictures you couldn't have see. Some stuff didn't have labels on. It was terrible. Angela, that thing was bad, but it was functional.
It was functional. Now, I talked a little bit about your story, about the journey to create, and I guess the first version of your company was naturally me and you. But
Yes.
can you share a little bit more about what that was like, particularly going to the doctor, having a child that had some needs that were not being met?
My daughter was born premature. She was born at 31 weeks. So she had complications from the beginning. She developed asthma at about 6 months. She was in and out the hospital. I mean, she's had 13 surgeries already. She has about 12 to 14 different specialists that she see. And my whole life was just dedicated to making her feel better, not necessarily curing her, because there were some things, syndromes that she had that they just didn't know what to do for her. Doctors would say, "We don't know what's wrong," or "She's a complicated case." And we tried this medicine and that medicine, this medicine and that medicine, until I was like, you know what? No more medicine. She's been on this one for X amount of years and it's not helping. It hadn't worked. She's been on this medicine for X amount of years and it's not working. It's not helping. There were times where she would have a surgery and the doctor was like, you know, I don't know if she's gonna make it. and it was that serious. So I call her my miracle baby because they told me she would never walk, she would never talk, she wouldn't dance or any of that. But she's dancing. She can't dance real fast. She's walking. She can't run, but she's walking. She's talking and she can sing. She has a beautiful, beautiful voice. She's very talented. So she's just my miracle baby, and I live for her every single day.
That is amazing. So when you started your research, were you just looking on just doing Google? Were you in Facebook groups? How did you start
Um,
now we don't need to know the special formula. There is a reason that KFC, got the secret,
right.
11 herbs and spices. So we're not trying to find a formula, but like how did you discover what you put together that worked?
My friend teacher, she said, Rita, you really need to look into essential oils. So I started doing because she's an esthetician, so I started looking into essential oils and how to use them. And I took these classes online, and then I started reading about shea butters and coconut oils and olive oils, and I just started putting stuff together. I went on YouTube to see how to whip up the shea butter because I didn't like it. So I knew I needed to solve a problem, which was her dry, irritated, itchy skin. So if I can put together a formula of oils, butters, and essential oils that she's not allergic to, I had to make sure there were things that she wasn't allergic to, like almonds. Couldn't use that. Any type of peanut oils, all of that. Couldn't use any of that. So I put together this formula and I had a really nice mixer, so that was great. I looked on YouTube about how to whip up the shea butter because shea butter is kind of solid. It's hard, and it was hard for me to keep digging my hands in it. I said, you know what? I'm about to put this thing to work, child. Girl, I put that shea butter together. Put a little bit of coconut oil in there. I put a little drop of olive oil. It was a pure mess, child. That thing was a mess. Angela, that thing was a mess. It was lumpy. I was like, I did something wrong. So I went back to the table again. It was a mess again, but I was using it as it was a mess. It's just the consistency wasn't right.
Hmm.
When I finally got the consistency right, that's when I started giving it out to different people, and they absolutely loved it. That's how that started.
Okay. Now, when you first started, I mean, you already mentioned your website was a little on the janky side,
Girl.
but just getting your foot in the door, you have a website. What was one of those really valuable lessons you learned about business in the beginning?
That's start where you are. You have to start
Mm,
somewhere. I don't know a whole lot of businesses that was just given a whole bunch of money and was able to start everything brand spanking new. You learn as you go. So whatever you have, if all you got is $5, you start with that $5. Now you might have to pray over that $5 and say, look, Lord, I know I got this $5, but can you please increase it to 20? Give me something to increase this $5 to 20. So I mean, I mean, it's that serious. Do something every day to work on your business, especially if you got a 9 to 5. Do something every day. If it ain't but pray and say, look, I'm tired, but I want to start this business because I want to be home with my family. You got to be intentional about
hmm.
really working in your business.
Now you have gone far beyond body cream. There's the lip scrub. That's one that I have.
Okay.
There's the underarm scrub. There's the all natural deodorants. And you doing. I've been noticing you've been experimenting with them candles and stuff too. You got candles, and because
Hmm.
I look at what you're doing on your Instagram stories. Like, what's your favorite product now, and why is that one your favorite product?
My scalp scrub is my favorite product. When I first started with the scalp scrub, which was about 4 years ago, no, I hadn't seen anybody else doing it. The reason I started it was because my daughter, my oldest one, she had terrible seborrheic dermatitis. Her scalp was so flaky that when I would take her hair down, it would be
Hold
flakes.
up, Rita. Is that
Okay.
dandruff? Did you just use the big word for dandruff or no? That's
Oh,
something
my dog.
different.
My bad, dog. Yeah,
Did you? I mean,
basically.
could you just bring it down for us? For us, okay.
Okay, so yeah, she had dandruff, which is what I should
Okay.
have said anyway, because I'm not making any medical claims on my product, so I should have just said dandruff. Look, she had. Let's
Okay.
rewind that. Okay, she had a dry, flaky, itchy, irritated scalp. There we go.
Okay.
So I started doing some reading. I'm like, you know what? The scalp is part of the head, part of the skin too. Plus, I also have a background in barbering and cosmetology. I went to school for barbering, and I finished that, and then I started in cosmetology, but ended up having to move to Georgia to help my sister with her kids. So I never did finish the cosmetology. However, I kept studying, so I do kind of understand how the hair works, how the scalp works, and what you need to do to take care of it. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna create a scalp scrub. That's what I'm gonna do, and I did. And when I used that scalp scrub on her, the itching stopped, the flaking stopped. She couldn't go no more than about a week with cornrows in her hair. She'd be full of flakes. Now she can go a whole month with cornrows or braids or anything without her scalp irritating or itching. And it's that scalp scrub has been my number one seller. I have cosmetologists, master cosmetologists calling me and say, look, I need the scalp scrub. My clients love it. One client told me that you can't do my hair if you don't have the scalp scrub. So that is my number one selling product, and it is solving problems. You got to make sure that when you come out with a product, it's got to solve a problem. If you come out with a soap, it's got to solve a problem. Something has to solve a problem for a person, and then that product will be successful.
Now, how did you start to expand your product line? Because again, it all started with this body cream to solve this itchiness and all of the blisters from eczema. When you started adding things to it, was it just like this? Was it, oh, my daughter's scalp is itchy and she got fapalopalopolis, whatever that was you said. And so did you start like that? Was everything a necessity? Or how did you start adding things? I don't know what you said, but that's what it sounded like to me. But yeah, how did you start expanding it?
Oh my goodness, Angela, say that again.
Fluffalopolis. That's what you said.
No, I did
Okay.
not
Okay,
say
my
that.
bad. My bad.
I said subordinate dermatitis. Okay,
My
okay,
bad.
you got me on that, girl. Okay, so this how it happened. My kids were young. I had babies. Um, I wanted them to experience a toxin-free lifestyle when it came to skincare and body care products. And one big thing that really took me over the edge was my daughter was 2 at the time. She had gotten into some cleaning products up underneath the cabinet. Now I did have the little child locks on there, but my son, who was 3, he's very, very strong. He was always a big kid. He was able to just pop them open, and it blew me away. The boy could get out of a seat belt, out of a car seat that had a 5-point harness on it. I called the company. I was like, "Yo, this boy's getting out of this car seat. I paid $400 for this thing," and they was like, "Ain't nothing we could do." So that's how strong he was, and he's still
Wow.
strong. That my baby. That my BJ, honey. That my BJ. So she got into some cleaning products and got all in her mouth. And she swallowed it. She ingested it. So I had to take it to the emergency room. I was like, you
Mm.
know what? That's not happening again. So the cleaning products came because my child ingested cleaning products that could have possibly killed her. So when I got
Mm.
back home from the emergency room, I threw it all away. And I started doing reading on what types of how to make natural cleaning products. So that's how that came about. And then it just started expanding a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm like, oh, okay, let me see if I can make this. I do a little research on it, put some stuff together, read about it, test it, send it out to people. They like it. I was like, okay, well, let me add this. So that's how it happened.
Wow. Well, we got a question. Got a question from one of our very loyal viewers here at the Angela Ray Show. Edwin, can you see his question on the screen?
Yes, I do. So
Okay.
your faith was stronger than fear. Yes, and you started your business. What 3 things would you tell someone who wants to leave that 9 to 5 on the shelf? You better do that, Michael Jackson, girl. Okay. Well, the first thing you answered yourself: faith stronger than fear. So start right there. You got to believe. If you set out to do something, you got to believe that you can do it. Okay. Everybody has some types of talents or gifts that they were born with. When you tap into that, whatever's yours is yours.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm a perfectionist. I'm 110% perfectionist, and I have OCD. So it's hard for me to allow people to have ownership of something that I'm used to doing, such as making my soaps. It's hard for me to teach somebody to make my soaps because I don't want them to mess up. But I have to have faith in myself to know that I'm a good teacher. Once I teach that person how to do it, then that's what I need to let them do. Um, the third thing, honey, get you a bottle of wine. Have you some wine. Always have you some wine somewhere. If you're not a drinker, get you a bucket of fried chicken, honey, and just do your thing. Okay, you got to have snacks. You got to be nourished. Take your breaks is what I'm trying to say. Take your breaks, honey. You
Okay,
gotta
fried
take your
chicken
breaks.
wine. Okay. All right. Well, and that all of that's just great advice. Throughout this, great emerging and growing business that the world has seen, you've also had a lot of personal challenges along the way. Can you talk about how you've overcome some of those?
Yes, I can. Um, my business started in 2014, and it's kind of slow. But then in 2017, my business started growing. Earlier that year in April, I had a heart surgery. I had heart surgery, which I don't really talk about it a lot because it wasn't something that was just very prevalent. I had what's called Wolf Parkinson White syndrome, where your heart has an extra rhythm, and so they had to go in and do like a 6-hour surgery to stop that rhythm. What made my surgery so iffy was because that rhythm was so close to my main heartbeat that had they stopped that one, then I would have gone into cardiac arrest. So I had that done. Um, July 5th of 2017, my husband got into a horrific accident. He was a over the road truck driver. So he was in New Jersey when this happened. So mind you, I have a special needs daughter. I have a young son and a young daughter who at that time I did not know had autism. I knew there was some situations going on, but I didn't know she had autism. So when you get a phone call from the doctor that say, look, your husband was in an accident, he may not make it, your whole life changes in front of you. You do not know what to expect. Now, my daughter had appointments that next day. She had to go see a heart doctor because she has two different heart diseases. She also needed to go see a liver doctor because she also has a liver disease. So I didn't want to not take her to the doctor because once you want those were specialty appointments and it could take 2 to 3 months to get them back. So I had to call on my support system. I'm like, look, my husband had an accident. I need to go see him. I need to make sure he's okay. I need to do this. Can you come and sit with my children? So I had 10 different people out of rotation coming into my house on different shifts to take care of my children. It took me a couple of days to get to New Jersey, but I made it. When I walked in that hospital, I did not know where he was. I searched and searched and searched till finally I just fell on my knees and I just started crying. I had luggage in my hand. I was hungry. Um, I was scared because I didn't like to fly. It was my first time ever been on a plane. I was terrified. I just fell out. I fell out on the floor and I just started praying. I'm like, I don't know where my husband is. And this man came up to me who happened to be the hospital administrator. And he showed me where my husband was. So I went into ICU and he laid there with his arms stretched out. When I say the majority of his bones on the left side were broken, his hip bone was broken in two places. His pelvic was broken in the front and the back. His femur was broken. His knee was broken. His ankle was broken. Only thing they had done was stabilize his back because the bleeding in his femur was bleeding so bad that they had to stop that first because they were about to lose him. He was swollen. I called him the Incredible Hulk because that's how big he looked because he was so swollen. They kept him in a coma for about a week. I was able to leave there and get back home and deal with my children. Then I was able to go back up there again. But here is what I'm so blessed to be able to tell my story. During that time, um, we were not getting any income except from Pardo Naturals, but I wasn't able to work much in the business because I was dealing so much with trying to help my husband. My car got paid off. Um, People rallied together and made sure I had meals. Some meals were catered. The outpouring of love from my family and friends and community was so overwhelming. I was like, oh my goodness. But what if I hadn't ever told my story? What if nobody ever knew what was going on? Then that pride would have gotten away, and my children could have gone hungry. I could have lost my house, all kinds of things. So please don't ever be afraid to ask for help and tell your story. I'm very serious on when you need help, ask somebody, because you don't know who's over there ready to bless you. You don't know, but they can't bless you if they don't know what you need. So you got to be able to tell that story. Got my husband home July 25th, and the recovery was something I never experienced in my life. During his recovery, my mother's cancer got worse, and she died in September. So I was going back and forth to visit her. I went down there one weekend, and that was the weekend that my husband's leg looked like it was needed to be amputated. So I told the doctors, I said, "Don't do anything yet. I got to go check on my mother. My mother is dying." And they was like, "Oh my goodness, Miss Pardo." She said, "We did not know that. They did not know that I was trying to take care of 3 kids, a husband, and my mother was dying." I got down to Alabama, where I'm from. My mother did pass within 24 hours of me getting there. Um, Driving back home to Atlanta, it's 4 hours away, um, was the hardest thing I've ever. I try not to cry when I tell this story, but it's just, I think about it and I get emotional. Driving back from Atlanta, from Alabama to Atlanta after losing your mother, it was just me and the kids. And I know it wasn't nobody but Jehovah God that got me down that road, because I was by myself. Because normally my husband would have been there to help me. I was by myself the whole time. I was by myself. We stayed in the hotel. I was by myself with the kids, and it was only by the grace of God that I was able to function. Because people was like, "I don't know how in the world you're able to function with all this stuff going on." And I look back now, and I'm like, "Girl, how did you do that?" It couldn't have been nobody, but God helped me along the way. Got back, went straight to my husband's um, hospital bed, and we stayed there and visited with him for a while. And then when he came home, it was getting him to doctors, rehab. It was a whole lot. That's something I don't ever wish to have to go through again. But I never did once ask why me. Why not me? So yeah, that was challenging. Yeah.
And and even after this time, you were still, when I say, I don't want to say getting past it, because I imagine, when you lose a parent, that is still an ongoing process in terms of grieving. You were still able to continue to grow and expand your
Yes.
business.
Yes. The grieving process, I'm still in that grieving process, because I kind of felt guilty because I couldn't do as much for my mother, because my husband comes first. I wanted to be down in Alabama, giving her baths, just helping her through her last few days of her cancer, but I couldn't do that. And my mother told me the week before she died, the week of her death, she said, "You are doing all that you can do, and that's all you need to do." So I, I'm so glad she told me that, because that lifted some of the guilt. That lifted a lot of the guilt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, Edwin has another question for you that may actually really, uh, I think, goes well with what we're talking about right now.
Did you have any haters or critics? How did it turn out to be? Yes, I still do. Um, and not to get deep into it, because I don't want to bash anybody, because this is not how I am. I've gotten people who were so disappointed, upset with me, they would get on Facebook Live and just put my name in the ground. It's happened a couple of times. And what was great about it is my team, my community would call me and say, "Look, so and so is saying this about you." And what I learned from my mother is the truth doesn't need an explanation. So I never
Mm.
retaliated. I never got back on social media and say, "Oh, this isn't true. That's not true." If you know me as a person, then you know that that doesn't sound like Rita. And they will say, "That don't sound like you. I know that didn't happen." So yeah, you just gotta block that out, because the devil will send people. He will put people in your way to distract you. And I always noticed that it was right when I was getting ready to do something big, like the World Natural Hair Show, or getting ready to launch my hair care line. That's when it would happen. And that was just a distraction. So you got to be careful, because you'll slip people in there that you thought was your friends and family, honey. And you'd be like, what? What? That's not what happened. What? So you cry a little bit, you wipe off them tears, put your big girl panties on, and keep it going.
Yeah,
Okay?
eat some
That's what you
fried
do.
chicken.
Yeah, and get some fried chicken. Yeah, that's an honest truth, honey. I love me some fried chicken. I got an air fryer though, so I don't fry it. I got air fryer now.
So I have a question for you. You know, you were obviously when you're in business, the way to support a business is to make a purchase, obviously.
Yeah.
But there are other ways that people can support. I'm always a firm believer that there are other ways that people can support. What are some of those ways that would be beneficial for a business like yours, in addition to actually making some purchases?
Um, I, this is two-part answer basically.
Okay.
Whenever you buy from a small business, we really do a happy dance behind the scenes. We really are dancing. We are very appreciative. If there's something wrong with that order, if we've made a mistake or it was damaged during transit, call us so that we can fix it. So instead of going on social media and say, this is the reason I don't support black owned businesses, it's because they didn't
Preach on
answer the
that.
phone, honey, they didn't return the email, or this came damaged. Let me tell you a little something about black owned businesses, small black owned businesses. We are the ones answering the emails most of the time. We are the ones making the product. We are the ones that's answering your 50 questions. That's already, if you go to the website, you can already see it. We are the ones that's trying to send the invoice because you won't go to the website and order. We are the ones doing all of that. Plus, we are caregivers. We are wives. We are husbands. We are sisters. We are brothers. We are aunties. We are friends. We are mothers. We are all of that. So give us a chance to make it right. It's going to take us longer. It might take us 3-4 days to answer that email, versus if you was to call some of these big name brands. They got somebody sitting there on the line waiting for somebody to chime and say, okay, this is a chat. You want to talk? I ain't got time to chat with you right now. It ain't just going to happen. Okay. I'm not chatting, girl. It's not gonna happen. I get to you when I get to you, and I need you to be patient with me and understand that. Okay, that's what I need you to do. Um, I was supposed to say something else. What was that question again, girl?
Other ways that people can support your business in addition
Okay,
to making purchases.
they can share your information. If they haven't bought anything and they see you having a sale, they can reshare. They can share on their Facebook. They can share on their Instagram. Word of mouth is amazing. Like, or if you hear somebody say, "Do you know anybody that sells hair products?" I get tagged all the time when it comes to hair products or bath bombs or cleaning products. I was just featured. I don't even know how they got my information. BuzzFeed blew me all the way away. I was like, hold on, BuzzFeed, what? I'm like, look, mama, made it now, girl. I don't know how BuzzFeed got my information. I knew I had an increase of orders with what they featured. I didn't know why. Until a friend of mine tagged me and said, look, Rita, your company is on here. And she shared it. So just share. Just share. That's another way you can support if you don't have the monetary means.
Definitely. You have another question about entrepreneurship.
What would you say to the entrepreneur that feels like, when will it be my time? Or why is my big break not coming fast enough? Okay, I felt that way. And I felt that way in 2017, right before my husband's accident. Had I been as busy as I was now, I wouldn't have been able to focus on my family. So God knows where your focus is. He knows when it's your time to shine. So you don't know what's in your future, but He does. He can see all of that. So it's just not your time yet. Don't give up. Because remember, the devil, he gonna slide in there and be like, you know what? Rita over there with the hair care, or Rita done got this order for 1,000 bath bombs, and you be like, man, I sure wish I could get that. Child, don't ever look at anybody else and what they do. Because although
Mhm.
I'm over here making hair products, I'm tired, girl. I'm tired. I ain't even got on the bra right now. I was too tired to put the thing on. And that's true. So look, Steph. It's coming. And I've used your products. They are marvelous, honey. Give it a little more time. Don't give up. Pace yourself. Okay? It's 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 not a sprint. It's not a sprint. Okay? Take little baby steps. You got it, girl. Girl, you got this.
So, as we begin to wrap up this conversation, that honestly I could, this interview could go on for like an hour, hour and a half of just the jewels that you're sharing, and I'm sure the story, I knew part of, I didn't know all of it. I knew a lot of your story just because I follow you on social media. So I remember you getting on Periscope, like, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
I got to go. My husband was just in accident. I'm like, oh, like, this is
Mm-hmm.
real life. Like, this ain't,
Yeah,
like, this isn't The Young and the Restless where I'm watching an update. This is real life. Um, so yeah, thank you so much for being here.
you're welcome.
One question for you: what do you think the long term legacy that this time, and by this time I mean this pandemic, where so many people aren't able to work, perhaps their hours are reduced because their companies are back to work, but they're having to do it in limited capacity. What do you think this long term, the long term kind of legacy will be on small businesses and their legacy?
I think that small businesses now had to learn how to pivot first of all. So if you saw that your sales were dropping when this pandemic started because people may not have been spending money because they were afraid, and I was one of them. I'm like, I'm not going to get this yet because I don't know what's going to happen. You have to pivot and see what people need. Once you pivot, then you can kind of go from there. I'm hoping that this has shown people that small businesses are very, very important to our community. And then if we all support within, then small businesses can grow really successful communities. Because the more I grow, the more I can employ people in my community, the more I can give jobs to people. And I'm really adamant about hiring special needs adults because I have one. I have a special needs adult and I see what she can do and what she can't do. So, girl, small business is about to blow it out the water. Huh? They ain't ready for us.
You got another question
Hey,
from Miss
Terica,
Lacey.
want to start my own business? I'm kind of scared. What could you do to tell me to get it going? Girl, you better be scared because it ain't easy. Okay. That's a good kind of fear. That's a good. That's a good kind of fear. So you got to decide what business it is. First of all, um, that's important. Make sure that business is something that can solve a problem, and you got to be able to stand out. Say if you want to start a watermelon, I say watermelon because I got some in there waiting for me. Y'all don't judge me. Say if you want to start selling lemonade, it's 100 lemonades out there. But what is it about your lemonade that's gonna be different from somebody else's lemonade? Is it gonna be your personality? Or are you gonna be able to get out in front of people and say, look, y'all, I got this lemonade. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna love it. Look, it's gonna change your life. It's very important. People will watch a video before they read anything. So
Hmm.
you got to get in front of the camera first of all. I got a friend that's struggling right now in her business. I'm like, well, how often do you go live? I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do it. I said, okay, well, you dropping coins, honey. You can't say what you ain't gonna do when you starting a business. Okay, so just take a little bit of time, find the laws and the regulations in your city and in your state, and go from there. Now I also teach business classes, so if you need a little help, honey, hit me on the inbox and I'll drop the link for you. And I do charge. I'm just saying.
So here's a question that is along the lines of what you were just saying, but maybe she needs some extra encouragement.
Okay, Stephanie, what about getting on social media doing videos, but you're shy? I'm a great writer, but I would love to speak more about my passion. How do I overcome that part? Okay, Stephanie, when you're doing videos, if you don't want to go live, record the video and then put the recorded video on your IGTV. You can edit it. I know going live in front of people sometimes is just too much. I'm an extrovert, so I love being in front of people because feel like I'm cute sometimes. But introverts, they be like, I can't do it. I don't want camera. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I might stumble. Girl, get iPhone. I got an iPhone. Get you one of them little clickers that can click to your iPhone. Put it in front of you. Get a stand. and just start to record yourself and look at it, and then critique yourself. But don't critique yourself to the point where, oh man, I gotta do that over again. People love to see people make mistakes. Perfection is not sexy. It's just not. It's not sexy. When you see somebody back there and something fall and be like, oh man, shoot, that thing fell off the wall. Girl, you know how far that is. Remember on Periscope, when my kids were always running back and forth. They want to run in here so bad now by a threat, and I'm like, look, I'm taking away your rations. If you come in here making all that noise now, I'm taking your rations away. So yeah, just until you get comfortable going live in front of people, just record it. Or you said you were a great writer, write it down and pay somebody else to go live for you. Or get a friend and say, look, will you do this for me? Will you promote? I've had your body scrubs before, which I absolutely love. Will you do this video for me? Shoot, girl, people would love to be in front of the camera a lot of times. Girl, get you somebody that can do it for you, and you be like, okay, my friend Stephanie, she the bomb child. Let me tell you, she got this scrub put on to make your skin. You won't be ashy. You gotta worry about getting in front of the camera, but you do need to show your face every now and then. People like to see who's that brand behind the camera. And you pretty too. You cute, girl. You better get out there and show people what you got. Sure.
Any final thoughts, Rita, as we get to wrap up this I think this is close to Def Comedy Jam tonight, but as we get to wrap up, any final thoughts that you'd like to share with anyone? Your Instagram and your website are both scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now.
Yes.
So for those of you who you heard her talking about that scalp scrub, this is how you can go to the website to get yours. As well as if you have someone in your family who may be suffering from eczema, you can also go there to check out the body cream. But anything else you
Yes.
want to
Yes.
share with the
Yes.
people before we wrap up?
That's right. Um, just don't give up, y'all. Just your time is coming. Just keep going. And you need to make sure you got some people in your corner that's motivating you. Call them people purpose pushers. You need somebody to push you. Because there are gonna be times where you're not making any sales and you'll be like, I'm gonna quit. But if you know your purpose and you know your reason behind your business, that's gonna keep you pushing. I got a friend named Tina. I love Tina. I'll call her, and as a matter of fact, her IG is motivated to transform. I'll call her, be like, Tina, I want to do this today. She said, Rita, you know you got to do it. Don't even play. And she don't. That's it. You need that type of person that's gonna push you, because there are times that you just be like, you know what, I ain't making no money. I'm finna quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Keep on moving, don't stop. And
That's
what's that?
right.
Soul to soul.
Keep on moving, don't stop. No, keep on moving. Yeah, keep on moving, don't stop. Oh, keep on moving. Okay, I got to charge y'all if I keep going, honey. I shouldn't be doing
That's
concepts
how I
for
wasn't
free.
gonna chime in because that's not my ministry. I know my
That's not your
place.
ministry.
It's not my ministry. I know my place. Okay. Rita, it was definitely a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being vulnerable, for being transparent, for sharing your triumphs as well as your challenges. I think all of that is what makes you such an awesome businesswoman. And I really appreciate, because I know you're busy. I know you're busy. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy
Thank
schedule
you.
just to be a part of the show tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Miss Angela.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right. You too, sis.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all. Take care.
All right, that is it for this Monday night edition of the Angela Ray Show. Just want to highlight our sponsor for tonight, Sheer Styles Beauty and Beauty Supply Store. For those of you who are looking for these right here, know what these are? Can you see them? Oh, light's too strong. These are disposable masks. These right here, these are your N95 masks. Right now, of course, the pandemic is very, very, it's spreading fast in our communities. And, aside from staying 6 feet apart, aside from washing your hands for 20 seconds at least with warm water and using hand sanitizer when you are out amongst the people, have those face coverings. Of course, the N95 mask is one of the most effective masks on the market that you can buy. And of course, the disposable masks, they are really good as well. So you can look at the post, at the caption on Facebook or on YouTube. Go ahead and make your way to the website, get your mask. There's also hand sanitizers, face shield, disposable gloves, and more. And again, like I said, that's it for our Monday night edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror will not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage everyone to go out and be the change. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow.